Brianne, hello! I know I should probably be working on that paper, but I miss y'all too much! I unfortunately have streamer brain, and therefore I must stream. Because I miss y'all a little too much. But, yeah. How is everyone doing this fine day? I hope y'all are doing somewhat well. But, yeah. Oh. Another cat just went into my room and she's making biscuits on my lawn plush. But yeah, I hope everyone is doing good. I'm almost at the end of my semester, which means I probably should not be streaming right now, but I miss y'all a little too much. Wait, I should probably close the door to my room. Be right back. Okay, the door's closed. Fuck. My fucking stream deck is fallen and it can't get up. In there. But yeah. I know I should probably be like working on my research paper, but I miss y'all. I miss y'all a little too much to do that. But I hope everyone is doing alright. Especially for anyone else who is kind of like nearing the end of their semester. You know, like I am. Also, I'm going to make this a little bigger on the canvas. So this is kind of like a composition for a CG in the game. Like, Patchley is kind of like standing a little confused. You know, I'm probably in like the background. There's like a few other characters, like probably Fennel and Lily, just looking a little confused as well. Or they're kind of just standing there. Because as Patchley is in her minister outfit, I imagine this CG happening like kind of early on. Like, in the prologue, I believe, is probably when this CG happens. I'm going to word this. But yeah, I'm getting pretty close to the end of my semester. Like, there's one assignment for one of my classes that I need to submit, then I'll be done with that. And that is the in-person class that has prevented me from streaming, on my usual schedule for the past few months. But it is a good class. And a prerequisite for some of my other classes. Fucking fly. Yeah, I kind of made this little shitty sprite sketch because this is kind of like meant for a specific scene. I don't know when or where it's going to happen, but it's probably going to happen like early on. Like somewhere in, like, probably chapter 3, if I'm being honest. Like, the early half of Patchley's Revenge. Hold on. Sorry about that! Feel free to add that to the sneeze counter. But yeah, so basically this scene that this sprite is for, it also has like a specific, soundtrack to it as well. So basically, yeah, it's kind of like, this is the spinning scene, where Osmi, which is the character this sprite is of, and Fennel are kind of like spinning around. And there is a specific song that is going to be called Kududu Kududu. And it's a fucking Herta reference, you know, like Honkai Star Rail. Like the whole meme of, you know, her going Kududu Kududu. You know, it's like Kudu Kudu. Who? But this is a reference to a specific animation. And the scene is kind of meant to be a little goofy and kind of like shows off the some of the dynamic between Osmanthus and Fennel. You know, like the fact that they are mutually goofy. And I probably should like make some other CG compositions as well. I should probably like name that layer. So there's kind of like more stuff that I kind of plan on doing for like Osmanthus and some other characters. Like, there are some like designs that I need to do. I need to make some, you know, outfits. It's for some of the other characters. Because, you know, Lily, of course, she has, like, several outfits, and, like, of course, a few of them are, like, kind of similar, but that's partially because they're both, you know, meant to be, like, lab safe. Like, she probably doesn't really have, like, a mission outfit, or like Patchouli and the others do, because of her role as kind of the lab tech. Like, she rarely goes on field, because her skills require her elsewhere. And kind of like have the eyebrows raised to look a little more relaxed. I made her kind of have like a bit of a flat nose. You know, show a little bit of diversity with the faces and all that. Actually, I might make her look a little closer to Patchley's height. So big rule when it comes to like, you know, drawing hands and stuff for like the joints. The pinky joints are lower than the rest of the hand. Like, the pinky joint would be here, and the other joints would be here. I mean, so I can probably imagine, like, Lily is probably, like, kind of explaining some of, like, what the agency that she and Fennel are trying to recruit Patchley into are kind of what they kind of do. And probably also, like, saying that, or probably, like, mentioning that her wife, aka Dahlia, who are kind of, like, just married for tax reasons, and also kind of only got married because Lily mentioned it in kind of a joking way. He not thinking that Dahlia would take it all that seriously. But she did. Because she was kind of like, you know, Dahlia was kind of just like, you know what? You're the person that I'm the closest to. Who I don't mind being your wife. That's basically why she was like down to kind of get married at a courthouse. But that kind of, like, is learned about later when Dahlia is introduced in Lily's chapter, which is the second chapter of the game. And the second arc of well, technically the third arc of the light novel. So yeah. Of course, it's not like explicitly a kind of like their relationship is very much a queer platonic relationship. Just because they're married doesn't mean they have like romantic feelings for each other. They mostly got married for tax reasons after all. Like, it's explicitly going to be mentioned in the story, and there's literally going to be an achievement and that you get around the time that you kind of like get the explanation for what Dahlia and Lily's relationship kind of is. Like, they're not like just friends, but they are not like romantically involved that much. Like, you literally just get an achievement called that's QPR baby. And it's meant to be a little comedic. Like, the name of the achievement. And not like the scene itself. Well, the scene itself is probably like a little comedic because of like how Lily explained that how the two of them got married in the first place. Because she just brought it up as a joke. Not expecting Dahlia to take it seriously at all. And it took her some time to kind of recover from that. Especially since they kind of did it over text. Which is probably like the weirdest way to kind of like have someone accept that they don't mind marrying you. I mean, like, the next 15 business days. And fun fact, the goddess that actually his church worships is a marriage god, actually. Like, Gimli the god is the goddess of bonds of all kinds. Like, romantic, platonic, it doesn't really matter. And that's why almost all of the clergy of that church are also certified to, officiate marriages. And this includes Patchouli. I mean, there's probably, I'm probably going to, develop a myth. Kind of, explaining in it, because in the story, Gimli, the god, this specifically, he officiated a marriage under the light of a full moon. And that marriage lasted for a while. It was a really healthy one. So it's very common for couples who want to get married in the church. It's very common for them to have the wedding at night so that they can kind of get married under the moonlight, just like that story. And Patchouli is kind of the one who, once she, was able to officiate marriages on her own and within the church, those were the marriages she often officiated. And also with some of the pictures of her officiating the marriages, or whenever she did do the marriage officiating, a lot of the people who were attending said that there was kind of a holy aura emanating from Patchouli, kind of as if the god Gimli herself was there in her place, which is not that common with any of the others. They could tell that they were channeling her energy, her vibes. But with Patchouli, they felt like she was actually there. The god Gimli was actually there through her. And that has lore implications. Because Patchouli is a god. I probably should not spoil it, but you know what, fuck it. But yeah, Patchouli is basically the reincarnation of Gimli. The rebirth of that god. Because in the story, canonically, gods often experience rebirths. They kind of quote unquote die. And if their essence is not consumed entirely, they will be reborn as another god. Which is kind of why Patchouli exists. Like, pretty much every single god in the history of Patchley's Revenge that is, like, currently alive in story is most likely the reincarnation / rebirth of another older god. Like, it's kind of like normal for like gods to kind of be reborn from other gods. Like the immortality of its soul. And occasionally there is like an entirely new god. Like that is not like the rebirth of another god. But that is a little rarer in like modern times in the story. Because there's like a good chunk of gods who kind of exist and therefore die and are reborn. It all kind of like depends. Like, sometimes they figure out which god they are the rebirth of, some don't. And it's kind of like normal for, like, new gods to not know if they know which god they have kind of rebirthed, they're the rebirth of. Like, especially if they're, like, god that was not, like, that well known. It's very likely that the god won't know which one they reincarnated from. And of course, some do know, like, pretty early on. Others find out later on, like Patchley. And others don't figure it out at all. Or they only know or figure it out as they are themselves on their deathbed. And of course, there is a way to kind of like prevent the rebirth of a god. And that is like entirely consuming the essence of the god after they die. To kind of like prevent the cycle. And this is more common with like a god who like cycle after cycle has been like the worst. Like, if you want to prevent them from hurting someone else. Though it is a bit of an old-fashioned way. Usually if you like figure out if a new god is rebirthed from kind of like a problematic god, you kind of try to like teach them to not be like that. But sometimes you gotta go to the extremes. Especially if it's like later in life and they're no longer like a newborn god and they end up, you know, being just like their previous incarnation. Because unfortunately some aspects of godhood are inevitable. Also, greetings Nato VT. Thank you for following. I am Skelly Ace. I am a dragon fairy. And I should probably be working on my finals. But I am streaming instead. And part of that is because I need to gather like 3 more sources before I really like start writing in the paper fully. It's like 1,500 words, and I only have like 1 sentence, which is better than 0, but it's due in like 4 days. Yeah. Probably once I end stream, I'm going to, work on that paper. But unfortunately, because I kind of picked, like, who I was going to, do the paper about, it's very likely that I'm going to, go down the rabbit hole and end up, like, just exceeding the word limit. Like, whenever I'm doing these assignments with, like, a word limit, there's 2 ways that it goes. Either I am under the word limit or just barely reach it, or I end up like doubling it. Both are inherently real possibilities. In terms of like possibly happening. But I will not know if I'm going to exceed the word limit or not until I finish it. Fortunately, I have written like longer research papers before. I had to write like a 10-page research paper for my senior project back in high school, which was like 2 years ago now. And to be fair, high school kind of sucked because, the pandemic. And because of that, luckily, I'm kind of glad that the pandemic happened when it did for me, because I was about to fail one of my classes. And part of the reason why I was failing that class is I was very much incapable of doing the assignments in the class because my classmates preferred speaking to each other over working on their assignments. And that very much distracted me. So I was very much unable to focus at all during that class. And I couldn't just like wear ear pods or something and just work on those assignments because it was, school. So I almost failed that class and probably would have repeated it if it weren't for the pandemic just making us all automatically pass. That's that course. I mean, to be fair, it was also, like, the last class of the day on, like, one of my... I forgot if it was an A day or B day class. But regardless, I nearly failed that class, and if it weren't for the pandemic, I probably would have, like, failed it and had to repeat it. So, yeah. If it weren't for that, I would have had to repeat that class. Luckily, I didn't have to, but I don't want to, think of, how I would have fared if I had to repeat that class. So, yeah. That is kind of why. Yeah. Luckily, the next 2 years were, like, sort of better. Even though I did have, like, one shutdown during, like, the first half of my junior year because I was, like, very stressed. Like, I was visibly stimming enough of that my Japanese teacher, like, she was just like, "Are you okay?" Because I was visibly flapping my hands so much that he noticed. And my mom later said that I could have looked like that I was having a seizure. And I was just like, I don't think that's how seizures look like. But I don't know much about seizures to know if me flapping my hands to oblivion would have been taken as, like, a symptom of me having a seizure. I mean, autistic people are kind of at risk for seizures already, apparently. From what I've learned. Along with a bunch of other, like, health issues. But, yeah. I eventually did, like, have a breakdown in my English class, which was, like, the last class of the day. And during this time, like, during that year, the A and B classes were just separated into different semesters, which I'm glad for. But eventually, that English class was swapped for my social skills class. And that day, not that day, and that year I had my English class, like, in the latter half of the school year. Or my English class was in my first block. And they noticed how I did pretty well, so when my senior year came around, they put my English class in like the very first class of my A days, which, coupled with the fact that my teacher that year was very, very chill and pretty much everyone loved him, I'm really glad that they did that. Even though I did have like one shutdown per semester, or not semester, per quarter, or during my senior year, they were pretty much just all in one single class. AKA my senior project class, which is the class that I had to write that paper for. Because unfortunately, some of my classmates prefer talking to each other over actually working during the class. I'm still mad about it 2 years later. And I remember, like, the day after I had my first shutdown that year, where I was kind of like, just had my head down on the desk and was crying for like an hour. And that day I went to a concert that day too, because I did not want to miss it. And I went with my brother, and he was basically just like, "You're in charge of when we go." Because he knew I had a shutdown that day. So, we spent some time at the concert. We went there around the time that Skillet started playing. And I bought some merch. And used my, note app to kind of like tell the lady at the counter at the little booth thingy what I wanted to get. Paid for the stuff. And then just texted my brother, "I'm ready to go." And then we left. And I took the day after the shutdown off to kind of like recover mentally. And I played Genshin that day. And this was around the time that Kokomi first came out. And I think I did like a 10 pull, I believe. But that was the day that I got Kokomi. Like, September 23rd, I believe, was the day that I got Kokomi. And that's why Kokomi kind of like has a special place in my heart. Because she came home, like, after I kind of had like a very not good time. In school. That's why, even though I have uninstalled Genshin Impact because I wasn't able to, like, transfer my files to my game drive, which has 4 terabytes. That's why Kokomi still has, like, a special place in my heart after all these years. So, yeah. Also, I still have not uploaded the Delphi Medics to Ko-fi. I know I should probably do that. I'll kind of like figure it out later. actually gonna do a little intermission. Partially because I kind of need to like grab a snack. Because I'm getting a little hungry. But yeah, I shall be back. Brr. Okay, I'm back. I did not end up grabbing the snack because I still have my cookies and cream Hershey's Kisses. So I can, like, munch on those. But I decided to, like, message the seller for, like, one of the things I ordered on Etsy. Because one of the things was a back order that is going to arrive in, like, June or July, I think. But I wanted to see if I could get the stuff that is not the back order shipped separately to be somewhat in time for my dad's birthday. Also, one of the things I ordered is coming all the way from Finland. But it does not have tracking though. Which is a little disappointing, but eh. Oof. But yeah, I'm gonna put the chocolate kiss in my mouth. Hopefully it'll save my hunger a little bit. But I think I'm gonna get Life 2D out. Because I kind of need to work on that model. So I was finally able to get the goddamn warp to work. However, it looks a little cursed. And I probably should have made the neck bigger. Okay, so Actually, I'm going to open Clip Studio Paint back up because clearly the neck is too short. Okay. Okay. So that was caps lock. Okay. There we go. So I mean, I probably could like copy paste some of the, you know, things that I did into like a whole new, you know, file for Live 2D. With all of the changes that I made and stuff. So, yeah. I could probably, like, do that. Actually... I could probably like do this. So So I did modify the face. So there we go. Save as. Actually, I probably need to like do a bit of a blur. No, that was a little too extreme. Okay, that looks better. I mean, I could probably like get some of the new parts and kind of like import them into this layer or like this file, so I can like just replace all of the parts that need replacing. So yeah. And also, in regards to the, you know, I forgot what I was going to say. So I could probably like work on this. So okay, straight line. So that is so I can probably like do a bunch of lines and then like just adjust them. Like based on what kind of is needed. Thank you, notifications. Okay. One more. Actually, I'm gonna make another one. Okay. So this is eyebrow. And tip up the ears. And then this. That was caps lock. Top of the head. And eventually I am going to draw the horns. In fact, this is probably going to be like the basis for like when I make a 3D blender model of Patchoulie's face. I'm going to kind of use this, you know, perspective thingy as like a base. To kind of like get all the proportions correct. And I'm going to get out one of the... I'm gonna get out the expression sheet. And there is, of course, also the, you know, horn concepts. And of course there's this little blah. I'm going to make the nose a little wider. So I believe this goes a little lower down. Also, hello Nito, how are you? And thank you for the first time chat. Who I'm drawing, this is an original character of mine. Her name is Patchouli Gimlet. So, this is her. And she also has like a few other outfits. But this is kind of like a perspective thingy. Because I plan on making her horns in Blender. I'm glad you like the colors. But she does have a few outfits. And these are all her outfits. and she is a minister. But yeah. This is kind of like just for proportions. No, proportion for proportion's sake. And for those who are, no, this is Clip Studio Paint. You know, I've never really used Metabane, but I've used Fire Alpaca. Which, if you go to my, if you've seen like some of my very early VODs of my art, this Fire Alpaca, which I believe is also made by the same company that makes Medibang. My very first VODs of art were in Fire Alpaca. Like, it was around, like, this time, 2 years ago, I believe, you know, last year, I believe, was when I started using Clip Studio Paint. But yeah. So, yeah. This is mostly for, like, when I, you know, go to Blender and kind of, like, make a 3D concept for the, you know, horns, so I can, you know, draw them in more perspectives. Because for here, I kind of just had to, like, fucking guess. Artists I like? Well, that's kind of hard to say. Because I do like a lot of artists. Like, of course, so there's of course Star Heavenly, but like it kind of depends on like what fandom I'm kind of, it like kind of depends because I like a whole lot of artists. But a lot of the artists I follow are on Tumblr. I do. Yeah, I love a lot of different artists. But of course, words. Words are being weird. But yeah, I love lots of different artists because, you know, art. You know. Thank you, Windows. Very cool. But yeah, I do love, like, a lot of different artists because, you know, it's kind of hard to pick one that I really like. Because I love different artists for different reasons when it comes to, like, their art style and stuff. Like, I might like one artist for, like, their style of rendering, but then another one for, like, how they draw certain things. So, yeah. It's just that art is just, like, yeah. Just art. Yeah. I mean, for, like, when it comes to, like, artists who've worked in, like, official capacities with, like, when it comes to, like, Transformers, when it comes to, like, official artists who, like, worked on the IDW comics, my favorite one is Alex Milne. I just love his art style. And, like, all the details he adds. You know, to the characters. And he frequently, like, does commissions. And I'm going to save this for now. Actually, I think I might, like, have to end the stream now. Because, I, you know, have like that one paper that is due in like 4 days. And I probably should, work on that. I don't know if I'm going to stream tomorrow because I'll probably be like working on that. Yeah. Luckily, it's like the end of the semester and like one of the stuff I have to like I was working on is done. I just need to do a checklist for it. And then I'll, see if I need to change anything. And once I submit it, I'll be done with that class. But I need to yeah. I mean, I can't really submit the stuff late because it's the end of the semester. And, I can't really, do that if I can't really submit anything late when the semester is over. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be streaming tomorrow. I probably won't be streaming tomorrow, but once I am, finished with my semester, I'll be able to stream on all the weekdays starting in May. Well, technically, next week. I think I'll be able to start doing that. But, yeah. I'll try and see if I can, get some of it done. It's 1,500 words. And I only have, one sentence and one source, and I need to get, 3 more sources. Scholarly sources, and I need to cite them in MLA, do the hanging indents, all the stuff that I gotta do for, just college. And then I have to, do stuff for the next semester where I'm going to be, doing all my prerequisites. Yeah, college life is hard. I've been doing this for, 2 years. And I did plan on, taking a gap year, but because of, my dad's disability benefits, I couldn't really take that off. I had to, instantly go to college. I mean, luckily this is a community college, and but I do need to, figure out where to transfer to for, pursuing my degree in graphic arts. And possibly, see if I can get, a minor in creative writing, or in, coding. Yeah. Yeah, graphic arts. I'll see if I can, have an online program for college for the one I transfer to. Because, I don't think I'll, even though I am hopefully going to learn how to drive over the summer, I don't know if I'll be able to get my license by the end of the summer and when my semester begins. And it's in the fall. But of course there is I plan on doing my Live 2D debut over the summer as well. Ideally, my deadline for my debut, the day I plan on debuting is July 3rd for this year, which is actually the 5-year anniversary of my jaw surgery. If my birthday wasn't so early in the year, I would have tried to debut on my birthday. But because my birthday is January 5th and that day already happened, I did not debut that day. Because I just barely started on my Live 2D work. So, yeah. Of course, I will probably, yeah. Luckily, that was, in 2019 for the jaw surgery. I do have some, fun stories from that time. When I, basically, ripped out all of the band by eating mac and cheese. And the fact that, and, my first ever D&D session during that time when I was recovering. But I'll probably save that for, when I do my debut. Unfortunately, that means I'll be retiring this model. But rest assured, this model won't be, completely out of use. I plan on probably, using it as a kind of basis for my 2.0 when that happens. Because the current model looks a little uninteresting. It's kind of basic, but to be fair, this is my first time doing Live 2D. So I don't have the experience to kind of do all the complex stuff that Live 2D can do. So, yeah. I'll be seeing y'all sometime next week. I'll probably set up a schedule. I'll probably be taking Monday off next week because that's the final day of the semester. To kind of recuperate and also see if I can develop my schedule for the next few weeks. But yeah, I'll be seeing y'all later or next week. Bye, everybody!